Well, it's been a very long time since I last uploaded, and it's been a while since I played EToH as well. So recently I decided to come back to the game to try and attempt some more difficult towers. Since you've already read the title of the video, then you probably already know which tower I decided to go for. But at the time, I was a bit stuck on which tower I should go for next. At the time, my hardest achievement had been the Tower of Bloodthirsty Kinos, a bottom extreme tower in Ring 9, which I'd done over 3 years ago. So originally I thought I'd try the Tower of Impossible Movement, as I remember previously I'd attempted to try this tower, and made it decently far I remember at one point. So I thought it might be an idea to try this again after about 2 years of not playing the game completely. Eventually I decided against this because when trying it again I kept loot failing floors 1 to 3. If I couldn't do that, then there was no point in trying the harder floors. From here I thought it might be best to go for another extreme, but something a little bit harder than Bloodthirsty Kinos. I didn't really want to do extremes like Terrifying Beauty or Strategic Mechanics, so the main option I had was the Tower of Hopeless Hell, which is a very popular choice for extreme towers. It is a purist tower which people often dislike, but I'm not someone who particularly likes, or dislikes rather, purist gameplay, and I thought the tower had a decent number of safety nets. In other words, I didn't think it was particularly punching, although I learned to be wrong later. If you want to see just me completing the tower, I'll put a link in the description to see the clip of me doing it. It probably will be quite long since I just dumped the whole clip of that recording session. This video isn't really a tower completion, as I thought it might be more interesting to see a full journey with the tower. Anyways, that's it for the intro. I'll roll the clips now. So I didn't really have any commentary for the clips whilst I'm playing, so I'll just voice over it. This day I didn't expect to get very far. This is just the first day I made some real attempts at the tower, rather than just practicing. I really didn't do much practice either, other than floor 9, because I knew it was the hardest floor. As you can see here, I've been playing for a bit before I press record. Most of this session was just me loot flailing floors 1 to 3 because of those dumb wedge sections near the end of floor 3. If you're doing this tower, try doing this section the way I did it, where you turn your back to the wrap. It makes it a lot better and more consistent. Anyways, I did get a really unexpected run to floor 6. Yeah, this is kind of dumb. I have no idea what I was doing here. You can really tell I didn't really practice this section, but luckily for me, this little bit was safety netted. Then I made it to the end of floor 6, where I jumped too late to the ladder and fell all the way back to floor 5 and then back to 3. I tried again later that day, but this is not a very good session and I really didn't make any further progress with the tower, although I was getting a bit more consistent, which is always a good thing. The next day, I actually made some good progress. I made it past the jump I failed the day before, and all the way up to floor 8. But this is pretty much now where the progress ends, as I just end up failing this one wrap around here, and end up failing all the way back to floor 2. I do end up making it back after a while, but then I failed the exact same jump again, and yeah, that was pretty much it for that day, just loot failing 8 over and over again. Yeah, this wasn't too interesting, let's move on. On day 3 I managed to make it up to floor 8 again and pass the jump I failed last time, but I ended up failing the last section of floor 8 a lot. I think a large number of fails I had was on this tower came near the end of floor 8. However, I still end up passing the end section eventually and then making it all the way up to floor 9. I'll let the clip play out for a bit. After failing some of the netted sections of floor 9, I actually ended up making it all the way to floor 10. I even passed the difficult wraparound and thought I was going to win here. But then I fail here. This might be one of my worst fails yet. I then end up falling to the safety net on floor 9 before falling all the way back to floor 8. And then end up loot failing the netted sections here once again before making it back to floor 9 again and then failing again. However, I only fell back to the beginning of 9 and then the game decides to pull this. The next day I made it to floor 10 again but didn't get attached to the ladder and then fell all the way back to floor 8. At this point I was getting a little tired of this tower and the constant loot failing of floors 1 to 3 and 8 to 9. However, I decided to still push through and play the tower. The next day however was still not much better. I didn't even reach floor 10 this time. Most of the time in this session was spent playing floors 8 to 9. This might have been my worst series of loot fails. Later, to my surprise, after a while I started to make some progress again. I made it back up to floor 10 for a third time. I'll just let the clip play. And on the third time, I finally made it past floor 10. At this point, I was so relieved to be finally done with this tower and done with the loot failing. That is Hopeless Hell completed. So in this part of the video, I'll be giving some final thoughts about the tower. First of all, I really did not enjoy this tower and had quite a tough time with it. The loot failing especially was not fun. The jank and purist gameplay would often be pretty annoying as well. It was fairly buggy when I was playing and I'd often get flat-sided. The design itself was pretty good, to be honest. I quite liked it. In terms of difficulty, the tower is low mid extreme in game. I think that's about right. It was definitely a bit of a step up from Bloodthirsty Kinos, but I didn't think it was significantly more difficult. Maybe I might say it could be mid extreme instead of low mid, as of my personal rating. In terms of each floor, I've seen and played more inconsistent towers. However, I still thought this tower was a tiny bit inconsistent, with the hardest floors obviously being floor 8 and floor 9 in my opinion. Floor 9 might actually be bottom terrifying. I'm not entirely sure whether it might be. I haven't seen the floor difficulties other than the fact that I just knew that floor 9 and 8 were the hardest. Some of the floors I think are also insane difficulty and not extreme. If you're planning on doing this yourself, make sure you have some strategies for the harder jumps or for the more inconsistent jumps, and definitely practice the hell out of floor 9 and maybe floor 8 as well. Before doing this tower, I heavily recommend you doing at least either Tower of Thinning Layers or Tower of Bloodthirsty Kinos. Otherwise, I think it might be a tiny bit too difficult. They're both purist, well mostly purist, and Bloodthirsty Kinos has some good jank gameplay which will definitely help you for this. As for the next tower, I'm thinking either a harder extreme tower or an easier terrifying. We'll have to wait and see for this. As for my channel and videos, if you happen to have been watching previous videos before I didn't upload for 2 years, even though that's unlikely, I will be uploading more videos this summer now that I have more free time. But yeah, that's about it. See you in the next one.